Something I see happen a lot in the mental health field is that there are a lot of people seeking quick fix and symptom alleviation, which is completely understandable. The problems that I see arise, however, are that we are often doing this to the detriment of looking at the deeper root causes as to why people are having these symptoms in the first place. So symptoms are really just another word for signals. Something is being signaled out as to something going wrong inside, and so something is dysregulated, or the person just has something going on that's not allowing them to achieve their desired state, whatever that is. And I've said this a few times in my podcast, but the desired state is not always the same state. If someone is overwhelmed, they may want to be soothed. If they are bored and feel like there's no point to life, they want to be energized and feel like there's purpose, as some examples. So this relates to something called shifting the burden to the intervenor. And I'm pulling especially from Thinking in Systems by Donellameadows. I quote from her a lot. But shifting the burden to the intervenor is related to disguising symptoms and alleviating them or reducing them, but not actually getting to the root problem. And a lot of the symptoms that we have, that especially in the mental health profession people are coming in with, are related to much deeper issues. So all the things that I've been talking about in my other videos about the different brainwave patterns, the anxious kind of thinking, the mental fog, the inability to self-soothe, all of those kinds of things, there are deeper issues as to why those are happening. And when someone comes in and wants to just alleviate the anxious feeling or the mental fog or whatever that is, if we immediately just go and try and alleviate that and mask it, that's fine as a short-term fix. But I see it over and over and over again that people are trying to have that symptom alleviation, and they just circle around and around and around, trying new combinations of this medication plus this medication, all these different things, without ever actually addressing why they feel so anxious or depressed or in a fog in the first place. And like I've said in other videos, there's almost always some roots to events that have happened to us in the past. And so there's a book that's really important that's out right now. I have it on my Kindle. I don't have the paper copy, but it's What Happened to You? And it's with Bruceperry and Oprah. And I think it's such a powerful question, because that's exactly what I see going on as well. We're asking the wrong questions. So if you can ask yourself, what happened to me that is this root of all of this other stuff, these symptoms that are coming out, I think that we will be on the right track to actually getting to how we figure out the supports and resources we need to address that root. So, which is often going to come from different types of co-regulating, this type of social, nurturing, attachment, relationship stuff. It's almost always boils down to that, especially in our earliest years, the stuff that we didn't get that we needed. And so in terms of this idea of shifting the burden to an intervenor, what's happening is a lot of people are shifting the burden to drugs or substances or other kinds of addictions, which can include the devices and social media and medications, as these things that alleviate the symptoms, and they do that. But what happens is they actually start to atrophy the person's ability to get to the desired state, which we do have the capacity to do, but we need the right resources and kind of awareness to be able to get to that place. So I just wanted to bring this up as a really big issue that I see in the mental health field as well as in education, because I see that also happen where if students aren't paying attention or there's misbehavior, we are looking at the short-term fix, which is punish them, send them home, do some sort of thing that seems to minimize whatever that behavior is we see in the moment, but it isn't ever getting to the root issues. And those roots are really deep, and they almost always come from our earliest experiences. At least that's in my perspective from being in this field for a long time. And I think a lot of experts would agree with that. So that's really all I have for this video. I'm going to go more in depth into it in episode 9 of season 2 of my podcast. But I also encourage you to look at that book of What Happened to You by Bruce Perry, as well as any kind of trauma-informed research or books that are out there. They all are helping us get to the deeper roots of why we are all in these states that we don't want to be in the first place. There are mechanisms and biological mechanisms, influences that happen to our brain and body architecture that accumulate over time and that lead to us feeling really out of alignment and dysregulated now. So I would love to see more of a shift towards really getting to those deeper issues and less of this intensity and focus on just the short-term fixes and the alleviating of symptoms, which I'm not saying there's no room for, but if we don't do the extra, the hard work and the long-term restorative work of how to get people to start self-regulating and co-regulating on their own, I think that we're really missing the boat. And I think that's why we see so many recurring patterns happen, especially in the mental health field. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.